Can we start with your name?
Lorna, Anzelone.
And what do you do for your job?
I teach at Monacan High School, grades 9 through 12, science.
With all of your students, at least in the hundreds, have you noticed any behavioral differences in any one student between the other?
Of course.
Have you ever had a history with students with bipolar, do you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And have you seen any distinct differences in the way that they act and behave in the classroom compared to other students who don't suffer from mental disorders?
On occasion, not consistently.
Does it ever impact their academic or learning abilities?
Yes. And their social interactions with others. Definitely.
And do you feel that it, in a way, separates them from the bunch of their class in a demeaning or harmful manner?
I would think that and I've had more than one, so I would think that some students are more open to students that are different and that have, we were talking specifically about bipolar disorder, and they have a circle of friends that they work with, and so they're good and they've been through the highs and the lows. Other students, I think, are almost ostracized because of their behavior.
Do you feel that in any way you have to teach any differently with the students who suffer from any mental disorders or illnesses?
So are you asking me in terms of in general mental health or just bipolar?
Mental health as a whole.
Yes, I have to be more understanding that somebody might be having a really bad anxiety attack, and they don't really show that by any outward, but I can tell by the way they act in class. So sometimes I have to approach them when they're not around their peer group, and especially on a test day, because test days are kind of big and most people do freak out on test days. And just to remind them of some test taking skills, like, listen to all the positive thoughts in your head, cut out everybody talking around you, right, I can do this on my test, and just some things that might be beneficial. That is if a student is willing to talk to me that they are having anxiety. Now, if they're not, they don't tell me about it, then usually I can figure out. You can verbalize really well in class, you know what we're doing, but on test days you just can't do it. So I notice more on test days. Sometimes I notice it on lab days when some students don't have a lab partner. And it could be that they're just shy, but you really don't know enough. So as the year progresses, I have to be really understanding and try to help some of those students out to help them join a lab group that is more open. So yeah.
Would you say, from a humane perspective at least, you don't treat any of your students differently who do suffer from a mental health? You treat your students as equally as you can?
Yes, I definitely try, but sometimes you have to treat them differently, and you might have to offer them another opportunity to take a test if you notice that they're really having a bad day, or you get a note of somebody, like a parent might turn in something, it's like, hey, just let you know that so-and-so had a really bad night last night and didn't get this done. And then I try to be, okay, talk to the student, do you want extra time? It's not on a plan that you get extra time, but do you need extra time? So on occasion, I do academically. I try not to point out any kind of thing in class around other students.
But as a whole, you don't treat them any less bad, correct?
No, I do not. I might offer them additional stuff, but because I don't like to see them struggling, especially if it's something like anxiety, because that can cripple anybody.
Because the whole point of our campaign is to prove that those who suffer from mental disorders, or bipolar specifically, they're just the same as anybody else and they shouldn't be treated any worse because they're just as human as you and I.
Right, but definitely not worse. They might have other opportunities or additional opportunities, but not less. So the word less to me is like, I would send them out of the classroom, or I would grade them worse on an assignment, but no, definitely not treat them worse. They might have additional opportunities, especially if they had a really bad day. Because there's nothing you can do about it if someone has a really bad day.
Any other questions?
No, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.